Have you always wanted to, control your own army of demons and play a Demonology Warlock in World of Warcraft, but maybe find a little bit too hard to control the demons and when should you be using this or that? Well, then this guide is for you. In today's guide, I will show you how we can play Demonology Warlock in a very easy way with the single button assistant, how we can min-max with the single button assistant, and yeah, just make it feel all good and deal great damage. In today's video, we're going to go through the stats, the talents, the rotation, and even showing you a little glimpse of gameplay on how I would play this spec myself. So let's get to it. So let's talk about stats. First of all, what I always recommend in all my guides is to always go with the highest upgrade level. For example, here I have a build which is a champion build. If I ever get a build that was either like adventure or veteran, I would never take it. Always go with the highest upgrade level. That means, you have adventure, veteran, champion, heroic, hero something, and then myth. Always take the one that has the highest upgrade level to get more of your main stat, which in this case is intellect. Of course, then when you get an item that is the same upgrade level, if I got another build and it was also champion, that's when you're going to look at the secondary stats. So, first of all, we have Mastery. Mastery increases all the damage done by your demons. And how do we do damage as a Demonology Warlock? By using demons. So it just increases all the damage by our demons, which is great, like super great. Secondly, we have Critical Strike. Critical Strike is great because it gives us a chance to deal double damage, which is nice. And also we have a talent which basically makes every time we do critical strike damage, usually you will deal 200% more damage when you do a crit, but now it deals 230, which is quite nice by both you and your demons. Then we have Haste. Haste is increasing the attack speed of your spells, basically making all your spells cast faster, and it also reduces the global cooldown. And it's very nice because when you use single button assistant, as we are doing in this guide here, we are getting punished by a 25% longer global cooldown. But because we are using when we're using this, we get 25% longer global cooldown. But if you have haste, it also reduces the global cooldown, so it can kind of justifies a little bit. But still, mastery and crit is more important than having a lot of haste. Lastly, we have versatility. Versatility just flat out increases your damage and reduces the damage you take. So like if you have 5% versatility, you're going to deal 5% flat out more damage, but you're going to take 2.5 less damage because only half of it is going to be the one that actually deals less damage to you. It also increases your healing. So technically, that's the stats. Alright, let's talk about talents. We have two talents. We have one for dungeons, which is also the one I recommend using for leveling. Basically like leveling, delves, dungeons, open world, so on. And then we have the raid one, which is more about single target damage. So that's the one you want to use when you're, for example, doing raid bosses, where it's just single target, like just raid bosses in generally, and then dungeons is the one for dungeons, delves, and leveling and so on. The most main difference between these two builds is that the one is single target and the one is more like multiple targets. Both builds are using Soul Harvester. According to most of the guides I could find, Soul Harvester is the meta when using Demonology Warlock in both dungeons and raids. So I'm just going to go with what I found, and also I really like Soul Harvester since it passively it's passively just have a chance to explode on your targets, dealing more damage both to the target and everyone around them. So it's just like a great passive talent that doesn't require too much to think about, and it just deals great damage to both the single target and multiple targets. So yeah, Soul Harvester is a really, really cool talent. Hero talent. The main difference between the dungeon build is, for example, the dungeon build is utilizing more technically it's more AoE damage. For example, we have this one here where Dreadstalkers now deal damage to everyone around them for 8 yards when they actually charge into battle. We are also using, improving Hand of Gul'dan. But the main difference between these two builds is probably that we are using Doom and Summon Doomguard when it comes to the dungeon build. And in the raid build, we are primarily increasing like a lot of the single target damage. So most of these things you can see that is getting changed out is actually stuff that like directly helps you with your single target damage. For example, increases damage to your primary target with Hand of Gul'dan, reduce the cast time of Shadowbolt and increase by damage by 30. But most importantly is that we are using Summon Wildfind, which is like Cold Red Stalkers also summon a Wildfind that assists you in combat for 15 seconds, and then we're improving it to deal even more damage. So you can see here, so that's the main difference between the raid build is more focused around dealing single target damage and summoning these Wildfinds, and also it uses the Imp Lord instead of the Fell Ravager. And then of course in the dungeon build, again, we have some AoE abilities. We have the Doom down here. And also, one of the main differences between the raid build and dungeon build is that in the raid build, we're using Power Siphon, which is instantly sacrifice up to 2 wild imps, generating 2 charges of Demonic Core. That causes Demon Ball to deal 50% additional damage, which is of course nice. But in the dungeon build, we're using Implosion, where you can force up to 6 of your wild imps to explode on your target, dealing 3,000 each of them, which of course is quite like a lot of damage when you have like multiple mobs. So again, raid build single target wise, we're using the Summon Wildfind over here, we're using the Imp Lord, and we're using Power Siphon. That's mainly the difference. Dungeon build, we're using Implosion, we're using Dreadlash, and we have Doom, and we have Summon Doomguard. Doom is a spell. When Demon Ball consumes a demonic core, it inflicts impending doom upon the target, dealing 6,000 shadow damage to enemies within 10 yards. So basically AoE damage, as we like in a dungeon build, to its target after 20 seconds, or when removed, damage is reduced beyond 8 targets. And also Hand of Gul'dan reduces the duration of Doom by 3 seconds. So basically Hand of Gul'dan is helping it to, like, you know, deal faster damage, which is great. Then also we get the ability called Summon Doomguard. Summons a Doomguard to assist you in combat for 12 seconds. Consuming a demonic core reduces the cooldown of Summon demonic Doomguard, sorry. So basically whenever like we use a demonic core, it's going to reduce the cooldown of this ability. But what is the Doomguard doing? Sends a volley of malefic balls at 5 enemies within 40 yards, inflicting 7,000 damage. You can see this is an AoE cooldown. It helps you with boost, like dealing a lot of damage to pulls. And the cool thing is we're reducing the cooldown so much that it basically gets ready for every pull. So every time your tank is about to like make a very big pull, it will be ready for like dealing a lot of AoE damage. So that's like the primarily reason for why we're using this in dungeons and this in raids. I have seen a lot of people when they do delves, they actually play with this build here, but they remove these two and they take these two over here. A lot of people prefer these two for the delves over here. So you could have a third build for delves where you're using these over here. But yeah, that's primarily what I see. But again, the raid build and the dungeon build. If you want the export key for the builds, they are on my Discord, link in the description. All my macros, my builds, my talents, all of them, you can find on my Discord. So yeah, in case you want to build. But again, both builds using Soul Harvester. In the left side, I have very much focused on survivability, tons of self-healing from Drain Life. In the raid build and dungeon build, I'm actually not using this one here, which heals your pet a lot. In case you're going to do leveling, I recommend, for example, removing Curse of Tongue or Curse of Exhaustion. Like, you cannot actually not remove that one, but you can remove the Curse of Tongue and take this one here, which is going to heal your pet a lot. So in case you're doing leveling, remove Curse of Tongue and take Infernal Beneficiary, which is healing your pet tons of healing when you use Drain Life. But when you're max level and you're doing dungeon raids, you don't really need that one, in my opinion. So as long as you have this one down here, Fell Synergy, it will keep healing you and your pet passively. So again, play with this if you're max level and you don't need extra healing for your pet. But if you need healing for your pet, you can remove this one here and take this one here. It's kind of up to you. But again, reducing damage, we're going to be healing a lot. We're healing a lot from these abilities here. So overall, great build. I like this build here. But again, the builds on my Discord in case you need them. So when it comes to rotation, single target rotation is quite easy. Multiple target rotation is a little bit more tricky, but once you really find out how it works, you're going to do great. So basically, when it is single target rotation, let's take this one here over here. Now we do single target rotation. What you want to do is You basically want to use your Dreadstalkers, you want to use your Hand of Gul'dan, and then you just need 2 soul shards, and once you have those 2 soul shards, you're going to be using your cooldown number 3, 4, and 5. So you're going to be using your Fel Ravager, you're going to be using your Demonic Tyrant, and you're going to be using Doomguard in that same rotation. When you are in your raid build, you're going to be using your Implord instead. And when Fel Ravager is on cooldown, it's going to be turned into an interrupting spell, which is quite nice. So technically, how this is going to look like, you're going to be using your single button assistant, again on Hand of Gul'dan. So now I'd use Dreadstalkers, then Hand of Gul'dan. You need to get 2 soul shards. 1, 2, now we've got 2 soul shards. Now we're going to be using our first summon, our second summon, our 5th summon, and now you basically just spam single button assistant. Just keep spamming it. And you only want to do something else when you actually, when you actually have your cooldowns ready again. So whenever your cooldowns are ready again, just use them whenever they are ready. You don't have to use them in that order anymore. Now you just basically want to use them when they're ready. That's the rotation for, basically the single button assistant when it's a single target. And again, I know you have the spell here called Implosion, but that one is only really it's only really worth using that one when we're talking like multiple targets, because single target wise it deals no damage. And in the raid build we don't use it, so you don't have to think about that one in the raid build. So that's pretty cool. That was the single target rotation. Basically use 2 times single button assistant until you get 2 soul shards, then use your 3 summons, 1, 2, 3, and then spam 1 until one of the summons, one of your cooldowns are ready, and just use whenever the cooldowns are ready again. So easy, you don't even have to think about that. When it comes to multiple targets, now it gets a little bit more tricky. Here, you want to do the same. You want to use 2 times like your single button assistant. You want to get, the Dreadstalkers out. You want to get out that Hand of Gul'dan, and then you want to use your summons. You want to use your Doomguard. You want to use your Grimoire, your Tyrant, and your Doomguard. And then you're going to be doing the same as single button, single target rotation, where you're going to keep spamming 1. But every time you have 6 imps, you want to use Implosion. It will take 6 of the imps, throw it to the target, and explode and deal damage to everyone. Great damage if you have more than more than 2 targets. Single target, 2 targets, it's not too good. Then the passive damage from imps is actually better. So again, let me try and show you here. So gonna use twice my single button assistant. And then we're going to fish for getting 2 soul shards. There we go. Now we're going to do our summon rotation again. Boom, boom, boom. And now we're going to be spamming single button assistant until we have 6 imps. And then we're going to be using Implosion. So now 6 of them just exploded and actually deal great damage, 100k damage. Look at that. And now we're just going to be spamming 1. Now there is one more mechanic to look about. Whenever you have your Demon Bolt instant cast, it's going to apply a doom to the target, like now. When that happens, switch target and start attacking another target, because you want to apply doom to that one as well. Now that one has doom as well. Switch target again. And that's the thing, you keep switching between the mobs in the group until now this one here has doom again. Then we switch back to this one here, because now doom has disappeared. Because doom is only on the target for 20 seconds, but every time you use Hand of Gul'dan, 3 seconds of that is getting faster. So let me try and explain. Use 2 times single button assistant, Hand of Gul'dan, Dreadstalkers, and then fish for 2 soul shards. Sometimes you have a chance that you get 2 soul shards ASAP after that when something like a proc happens. Then it's easy. Then you just use your summons and you spam. If that doesn't happen, throw 2 Shadow Balls. Then you get 2 soul shards. Now summon your entire demon army, with all the cooldowns. And now whenever you get 6 imps, throw them with using Implosion. And whenever and then you basically just spam single button assistant. And whenever you see the target has doom on them, switch target. Because the reason for why you want to switch target is when you apply doom to them through that instant cast Demon Bolt, it basically ticks down from 20 seconds, and when 20 seconds are done, they explode, deal 7,000 damage to everyone around them. So if you can imagine, you get doom on all of them, they basically all tick down, explode, and deal great damage. And it's not too hard. I mean, every time you can see the target has doom on them, you just switch switch, switch, switch. And that's why with my single, like with the cooldown manager we're using, it basically tells you here, you can see here, it has this icon here, and it will show you when your target has Doom. And also you see it above their head. If you enable like these action bars, then you will also see the above the heads in case you enable that. But it's great, like it works super, super well. So again, single target wise, you use your two like single button assistants, then you need to get like 2 shots, summon your army, and then you just spam 1 for the entire fight. Have fun, spam 1. Multiple targets, you want to do the same for the opener. Get your 2 soul shots after the 2 first time, you know, Dreadstalkers and so on. And then you want to use Implosion every time you get 6 imps. And you want to switch target every time the target you're on has Doom. That's how you're going to do min-max damage. Before we switch over to the gameplay section, where I'm going to show you some gameplay, I quickly want to talk about the other spells we have. So again, we have our 3 summons, and just as a reminder, in the raid build, we don't use Implosion because it's supposed to be like, you know, dealing most damage to a single target. So we basically have Power Siphon here, but Power Siphon is actually also inside the single button rotation. So it's actually not that too important. We have it down there. Actually, I could actually remove it because it's actually also, it's inside the single button assistant, so you don't have to worry about it. I think the only reason I had it down there was just to like see basically whenever like it's off, like cooldown wise. But yeah, when it comes to the entire like when it comes to the raid rotation, very easy. You only have 2 summons, so again, you want to start with the Dreadstalkers, you want to start with Hand Gul'dan, then you only need 1 soul shot because your demonic tyrant is free. Then you want to summon your Implord, and then you just spam 1. So the raid rotation is even easier because you just spam 1, and then you summon your 2 demons, and that's it. Actually, we don't even need to have that one down there. I should remove that from my guide as well. So yeah, that's how easy like the raid rotation is. Just to quickly finish with this one here, just talking about all the other spells we have, just so you know all of them. So just to quickly touch all the spells that we have, because I know a lot of new players who watch my guides, they like when I just like talk about all the spells. The last spell we have here is like Command Demon ability, which is basically making your demon cast its weapon. And it will stun the target, and it will also interrupt them for 4 seconds. So it's kind of like whenever the target is casting a spell you don't want them to cast, like something that's going to hurt a lot, then you can use your number 6 to interrupt them. It has a cooldown on 30 seconds, which is quite great. So you can see here, you target a target, you press 6, and it's going to like, boom, do like that. Stun it and also interrupt it in case it cannot be stunned. Then we have Soulburn. Soulburn is a very special spell. It does a lot of things. For example, it makes my teleport here instantly, like to set down the portal in case we want that. It also makes when you use the teleport, you're going to run faster. And if you use it after using Drain Life, it's going to give you a shield as well, beside of the healing. We of course have all the talents here, so that Drain Life heals for a tons of blood. Then you have your Healthstone. You have a spell that basically makes the Healthstone create Healthstone. And you also have create Soul Well, which is creating a Soul Well, so all in your party can get a Healthstone as well. This is, I mean, one of the main reasons for why we invite Warlocks, because we want free cookies. And then you have your Healthstone you can put here and basically use it whenever you want to get like self-healed. Then we have Dark Pact. It removes 20% of your HP, but gives you a shield equal to 200% of what you just sacrificed. So like I have a shield here on 100k, which is quite a lot. Then we have Unending Resolve, gives you 40% less damage. So now you take 40% less damage, but also makes you immune for interrupting, silence, and pushbacks effects for 8 seconds. Then we have Drain Life. Insane spell that heals you so much, like it just, you know, it just sucks the soul out of your monster, whatever you're attacking, and it heals you for like insane. So whenever you are in like a raid or something like that and you're about to die, just spam Drain Soul and it should get you like back to full health, and it will also help you healer so you don't have to like die over it. In case the mobs are casting a spell and your Axe Toes is on cooldown, you also have Mortal Coil, which is going to make the target like run around in fear and also interrupting them. And in case like a lot of the mobs is casting a spell, you want to interrupt them all, you have this one here called Shadow Fury, and it's going to interrupt them all. Then we also have, in case they're going to cast another spell again, you also have Fear, and it's also going to make that target run around in circle and stop casting. So you have so many abilities to stop them from casting. In case you really need to run somewhere, like, let's say that this is entire place here where I'm standing is going to explode. You have a spell called Burning Rush that makes you run very fast, so you can like run away from it. And we're using the talent here in the this that makes it run even faster. I think we're using it both in the raid build and the dungeon build. Then we have Curse of Weakness and Curse of Tongue. So basically, Curse of Weakness make them attack 20% less slower, like with melee attacks, like the weapons attacks. And because of this ability here, this talent here, it makes them all get cursed in 10 yards. So you don't have to curse them all, you just click on them one time, and now all of them is cursed. You can also use Curse of Tongue, which makes them cast spells 30% longer. So you would use usually this on casters, and you're going to use Curse of Weakness on like melee attackers. You also have Curse of Exhaustion, which makes them all run 50% slower. So you have like these 3 curses. Then you have Soulstone. You can either use Soulstone on yourself and then or someone else, and then when they die, they can like resurrect themselves like a Shaman Ankh. But you can also wait, don't use it, and then if someone dies, you can bring them back from death, like in combat, when using it on them. So you can either use it before they die or you can use it after they die. Usually people, they keep it till after, because then when someone dies, then you can resurrect them. Because if you use it on someone, you cannot use it on others since it will be in cooldown. So save it and rest someone if they die. Of course, if you're doing solo content, leveling and stuff like that, then you can just cast it on yourself and resurrect yourself if you die. Then we also have Fel Domination. Imagine your pet is dying, then you can use Fel Domination, and then you can use your summon pet and use summon Felguard, and it will summon it super fast, like this. And then again, we have our portal, so you can set up a demonic gateway. So you can set like up here, use it, and teleport over there. It's very cool if you have like a boss fight where you need to jump between platforms, or like something where you need to jump between 2 different places. And lastly, we have Demonic Circle, where you can set up a circle here, and whenever you use the one called Demonic Circle Teleport, it will teleport you back. Again, just another great utility. So yeah, let's try and do some gameplay, and let me show you how this would look like in a real scenario. So this place here is a great example of what you can do with multiple targets. So of course we need to try and gather some mobs around. I know we're gonna get a little bad damage since all the NPCs has already started damaging. But now you can see here we got all the mobs together. Use out your spell, Hand of Gul'dan, Dreadstalkers. Need to get that soul shards. And normally I would of course start summoning all my minions, like all my bosses, but I know it's not worth it here because the bosses are gonna come very soon, so I'm just gonna be basically spamming my rotation. Normally if the mobs that's gonna stay alive longer, you could see it's like okay damage. If it was mobs that was staying a lot longer, it was very important to like switch between them, since we want to like have Doom on different targets. But for example, on this one here, again, we're gonna be casting our Hand of Gul'dan, Dreadstalkers. Then technically we can summon all our big demons now, after those 2, and then just follow the rotation. Just follow the rotation, and you can see we're actually doing quite great damage. That Elemental Shaman is actually doing great damage as well. Again, whenever you can see the target has Doom on them, switch and use your Implosion when you have 6 imps alive. Damage is fine. Now we're just going to be using our single button assistant. We don't have any cooldowns left. We should also start pulling that one. And since we only have 1 target alive, it's not really worth to use Implosion. Just keep it until, in case suddenly we get more mobs. But now we're just going to follow our single button rotation. But still pretty great that we can do this amount of damage just by pressing 1. Now we have multiple targets here, so now we can use Implosion to explode on them. And now we technically have our Demonic Tyrant ready, so we could just use him. And then get back to spamming 1 again. And we're gonna wait, there we go. He's now close to the other mobs, then we can explode our 6 imps. Then switching targets, since we have Doom on that one. Switching back again. And there we go. I think the final boss is actually spawning after this one now. There you go. You can see damage is great. I know it's a follower dungeon mode, but still, the followers, they actually deal okay damage, so it's still like a fine way to show it. So now, of course, in a really good situation, I would have all my cooldowns ready. So I'm gonna wait till my cooldowns are ready in like 20 seconds. Alright, so let's try this. So we're gonna use our Dreadstalkers, Hand of Gul'dan. We need to get those soul shards in. I actually failed. I pressed my implosion. I was not supposed to do that. Now summon my army. There we go. Summon all of them. And now just spam 1. Spam 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And you're gonna be seeing big damage. This is annoying though, because now I'm not able to cast any of my spells while that is happening. But now we got our army out, we used the right rotation to start with, and now look at the damage. It is fire. I'm doing 50k DPS and I have really bad gear. Like I have like 220 eye level, but actually doing like 50k DPS, which is pretty great, if I would say. And usually this rotation can be a little bit confusing for some people, but now with this, we're doing fine. Pressing 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and now basically you're just waiting for any of your cooldowns to get ready again. And that's pretty much it. So you can see I was really outshining when it comes to the single target damage. But of course the multiple target was a little bit more hectic because you had to you need to kind of wait till your spells procs and different stuff like that. But yeah. That's the gameplay. So thanks for watching my Demonology Warlock guide for single button assistant and how to basically min-max with it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Again, this is basically just to help people, play Demonology Warlock, have a good time, relaxing. Again, you can easily use this for keys, raids, and so on. Trust me, you will be surprised on how much damage you can actually do with this. Of course, you're not going to be raid world first with this, but it's still fun and very casual friendly. So I hope you liked the video. In case you want to get the talent exports, my macros, whatever I'm using for any of my many builds I've made, you can find them on my Discord, or on my Discord there will be all my builds ready for you. So yeah, find the link in the description in case you want to join. In case you want to support the channel, you can subscribe to the channel and it will help you to find my new videos. And I'm also live streaming on Twitch every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, yeah, so 3 times a week. And in case you want to support even further and get your name on the video in the end of the video, you can also become a YouTube member. And I will also soon start uploading again behind the scenes stuff and private stuff and stuff like that, talking about single button and so on. So yeah, thanks for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.